Hello, and welcome to Knights of the Highlands of Chaos as 3.5 Dungeons & Dragons characters, video 2. The first in our series of one-off models. This one will be about Sir Rem. So I just kind of want to start with kind of why I chose Rem. He's the baby of our order, but I'll be going in order of knights who have already been introduced into my campaign that I'm making these for, and Rem is the first one. He's already actively involved as an NPC and has been for months in both in-game time and in session time, and so I figured it was most important to start with him so that my players can use this video to kind of give them some background and some understanding of what's going on with this character, as well as people who are watching this video for other reasons. So I want to start by taking a look at the model and kind of going through my process of painting and construction, and then I'll take you step by step through the character sheet and we'll wrap up. In this video, I'm going to talk more about my modeling process and my painting process than I will in subsequent videos, because at least the initial parts are all the same. They're all primed the same way. They're all approached in similar fashions. And in following videos, we'll spend more time talking about kind of the setting and how the knights interact with each other, and kind of giving you a look at the ebb and hold as far as it applies to the campaign. So here's a picture of, to start with, I guess, a reminder of where we're at. Here's a picture of my really poorly drawn map. I've had this map for like 10 years, just to kind of give you an idea, and then I'll kind of post here a picture of like a close-in at the kingdom, so they're both going to be taken with my phone. So bear in mind that they're both old, and I've had them a long time, and my phone is taking these pictures. So we're here in the southern part of the kingdom, and Sir Rem came in as kind of a NPC idea, and he was the one who started off my idea of introducing individuals from Belagarth into this campaign in particular, although I've always used some people as NPCs, or at least inspiration as NPCs. So yeah, so let's dive into the model real fast, and then I can kind of go through the character sheet and give you an idea of how he's working in. So first, you'll notice he's in a kind of come at me bro stance. When I created the model, Hero Forge, who are amazing, unfortunately do not have any stances available where both hands are on the model, and I think that's because of their manufacture process. So even if you're using a two-handed weapon or a polearm, it's still going to be in a one-handed grip. You'll see this repeated. There are lots of Knights of the Highlands who primarily use polearms. So that's the stance he's in. Of course, when comparing the model to this picture of Rem, you can see that they're both wearing their signature kettle helms. Rem's colors are green and gold, so that went directly to the model. I utilized, and for all of my models, when they arrive, I base coat them or primer coat them in Games Workshop's Chaos Black spray primer, featured here. And then I utilized, for painting on all of them, I used Citadel paints. For Rem in particular, I used Caliban Green, Rakarath Flesh, Mornfang Brown, Abaddon Black. It looks like there's Retributor Armor, and Ceramite White. And then the yellow parts are Averland Sunset. And then for all of the metal on all of the minis, you're going to see is Leadbelcher is the paint. So those are the paints that I use. I use a variety of brushes. I am a quote-unquote tabletop quality painter. I am by no means a pro, but I have fun doing it. It relaxes me, so this is what you get. So here in the model, that's what he's colored in. Rem's colors are green and gold in Belagarth. He also utilizes a dyed kind of mustardy yellow linen in a lot of his clothes, and so you see this kind of like two-tone green yellow and then the gold that kind of pops, and so I've followed that through to the model. Rem's also recently taken up the glaive in Belagarth. He's been a spear fighter most of his career, and so I thought it appropriate to add the glaive. And then as you're going to see from the back of the model, he's got a backpack shield on. Now, the Backpack shielding in D&D is actually from an open source D20 source. It's not actually from a Dungeons & Dragons book. It's from the Mercenaries Handbook, and basically if you backpack strap a shield, you get half of its shield bonus. So a lot of my polearm fighters in D&D are gonna, and even some of my Florentine fighters use a backpack strap shield, so that they can still get a little bit of a shield bonus without having to trade off for the buckler. So he's got the glaive there. Rem's also got a longsword on his, it's a short sword on his hip, and a black and silver backpack shield. And then you can see here on the model, if you get in real close on the front, he's got a brigandine, which is exactly what Rem wears on the field, in green and gold, so brigandine armor. And then for this model, on the feet, it's supposed to be like greaves and sabatons over shoes, but for getting them in the nylon plastic, and this is one thing I'll caution you about if you're going to get your own Hero Forge models, the nylon plastic's $15. It's good tabletop quality, but if you really want the detail to come out, you should go with the other plastic, the premium plastic that's $30 a model. That's a heavy investment, and I've already spent quite a bit trying to round these guys up. At over 20 Knights of the Highlands, this kind of adds up a little bit. So I went with the nylon plastic for everything. My model, which I'll go into depth later in one of the subsequent videos, the mini par, it was given to me in the better plastic quality. And if I'd had the money, if I had infinite money, I would have gotten all of them in the better plastic quality, or better quality plastic. But this works just fine for the models. Once they've got some paint on them, you can tell that some of the detail is lacking, but it's not the end of the world. And then, so I just wanted to say that this could be more detailed, especially in the faces and in some of the armor details. You'll see later on that some of the armor details are kind of washed out by the manufacture process, that with the higher quality plastic would have been present and easier to pick out with the paintbrush, which, that's already kind of a difficult task. So just, bear in mind going forward, looking at some of these things, that half of it's the fact that I'm not a pro quality painter. As much as I wish I would, I'm getting better every time. But the other part is that it's just a shortcoming of the manufacture process, and it's not a Hero Forge at all. It's just the reality of the way they come. It's also important to notice that, or to note that the manufacture process leaves the model quite porous. It's really rough, and right on there in the nylon plastic, it says that the paintability of these models is less than they're higher qualities, so they warn you straight up. So it's not like I got bait and switched or anything. But so that's kind of Rem. He's got a pouch on his side, on his left side, a sword on his right side, the backpack shield, the glaive there, kettle helm, green and gold. He's got metal gauntlets and van braces, and then metal sabatons over his shoes. So kind of looking at that model, it looks very much like him. He's probably one of the best translations to the model that I could get from Hero Forge, to the way they really look. So very pleased with that one. Let's transition out of the character sheet. Due to naming conventions in this area of my fantasy world, I have lengthened Rem's name to Remiel. I will do that with a couple of the characters just to make them fit more easily in a fantasy world. That's not him changing his fighting name. That's me having to change it for D&D. And through all of this, I was up against a little bit of a wall, because I had to balance making all of my friends really awesome characters, which they all should be because they're all really awesome, and keeping the game balanced, which, when I'm introducing a powerful allied NPC force, you have to be careful. So there's lots of these guys. Most of them are in the double digits. In fact, all of the Knights of the Highlands are in double digits as far as levels go. My party right now is just about to hit level 10, and some of these guys are level 20. So just handing them allies with this much power is difficult. So initially I had intended to minimum level 10, and then every year beyond 10 that they've been sword fighting, I would add a level. Now this made quite a few level 20s and a lot of people in the 15 to 20 range. So I kept it at level 20, and I kind of scaled some people back. So you'll see some folks who maybe got knighted 2 or 3 years apart, but are the same level. That's a game balance thing, so don't panic. If some of these guys are like, wow, that guy should be a higher level because he's been around longer, that's the explanation. So Rem is Knight level 10, or sorry, Knight level 8. Knight level 8. The ECL there is wrong. I scaled him back a little bit. So I guess they're not all over 10. Minimum level is 8, because that's kind of 2 levels over where my party started. And so Rem's sitting there at level 8. I'm looking at that now. So yeah, let's dig into the character sheet. So there's a stat block there. Strength 20, Dex 16, Con 17, Initiative 14, Wisdom 15, Charisma 16. I came to all of the Knights of the Highlands stats by rolling 46, re-rolling 1s and 2s, and taking the top 3. And then if all the dice came up the same number, that's a Yahtzee stat, which gets you a 20 instead of an 18. And then I went through and applied the requisite, every 4 levels you get a stat increase. This is what I call hero stats, and it's the method all of my PCs get to use to roll their stats. So looking at the combat options there, base attack 8-3, Knight level 8 from the Player's Handbook 2. So they have a straight fighter progression. Utilizing weapons, +2 shock glaive. I'll flip over the sheet here in a little bit, and we'll get to see how all of his feats kind of work into that. 1.5 times damage there, so we're looking at 1d10 plus 10, and nat 20 times 3, and then he's also got there that Masterwork short sword. 82 hit points. The way I did hit points is I took and I did this for everybody. The first level is full, whatever the hit die is, and then I went ahead and actually rolled them all, and I re-rolled any 1s and 2s I rolled for hit points as well. So the hit points are kind of all over the map, but it's just based on how they're rolled. So there's the grapple mod. There is the saving throws, +5, +5, +8 for fort, reflex, and will. Looking down there at armor class, armor bonus 6, shield bonus 4, and then dex modifier 3, and then he's got a ring of protection, which we'll see here in a minute. And then just like in real life, Rem's wearing +2 Brigandine, which is an arms and equipment guide armor, and then he's got that +1 heavy wooden shield of light fortification, and then because of his knight abilities, he's going to get some additional bumps up to his shield bonus, which is why it's so high. Flipping over to the next page, this is the gear page and experience points page. It looks like I have accidentally left Rem's experience points empty, but anything that would get him to level 8 is fine in there if you're going to utilize him. If you want to maybe close to leveling, you can bump him up. If you want to keep him from leveling for a while, you can pull him down. I've noted here, you'll see this on every character sheet, that I just have adventuring gear in the possessions on person. Now, this is your standard adventuring kit plus some. You can feel free to give them sun rods, whatever else you're going to use. For me, this is your standard like backpack, bedroll, 2 water skins, 50 feet of hemp rope, a grappling hook, flint and tinder, and I think that's it. For the Knights of the Highlands, they also get some additional stuff like the sun rods, and they actually get a wineskin as well as to the 2 water skins for reasons you'll find out when we do Dio's video. They're in the possessions not on person. We have the Knight's Livery. Now, this is everything that someone might need to be a knight. This includes a banner, a chain of office, separate clothing, a badge, kind of all the things you would need to recognize yourself as a knight, spurs, those kind of things. And it's just abbreviated here. You can mess with this however you want in your own stuff, but for me, it's both historically and fantastically arranged for anything you would need, either because you are or to be a knight. This might include extra weapons, living space for a squire. All those things are kind of included in this. And you'll notice that the location is marked KOTH Ebenhold. As we do subsequent videos, we'll talk more about the Ebenhold, and you'll find out what all's involved there. Magic items persons. For the magic items compendium, he's got a ring of protection +1 and a helm of glorious recovery. And then a special item, it's kind of modified from another set of magic items, but I had the Boar's Bracers for Rem. They just add an additional, they basically make his crit range with stabbing weapons increased by 1, which some classes get that inherently, but that's what I'm looking at there. So unfortunately, because of the glaive, it won't affect that because that's a slashing weapon. But if he ever pulls out a short sword, or if he ever picks up a spear, he's going to get that. The third, in this kind of 4-page character sheet that I've used for everyone, the third page for Rem is blank. This page includes magic, the turn, rebuke undead, any psionics, and then an animal companion or side crystal or a familiar. And since Rem doesn't have any of those, I've just gone ahead and left that page blank. And then zipping over to the last page, kind of it's skills, racial traits, feats, languages, and then the synergy block. His feats, so the skills are there, you can go through them. Kind of Rem's signature skill, according to this, his signature skill would be climb, but that's just kind of how it worked out. Primarily the way he's played is he's utilized his diplomacy, ride, and handle animal more than anything else. He's a true knight, so he's on horseback, and he does have the mounted combat kind of feat granted to him by his knight class. So, that I've used that a lot. And then he also has profession artist, which is true of Rem in the real world. Rem has in the game several works of art that are displayed throughout the Ebb and Hold that kind of depicts his brothers in arms doing things. So, the PCs will get to see some of that. And then up there in the top right, that's all from the racial traits class features. I mean, Rem's human, so he gets all the base human stuff. But there's the all the stuff from the Knights thing, the fighting challenge, the Knights challenge, the Knights code, meta combat, shield block, which gives Rem an additional bump to his AC bonus for the shield, so that's kind of where that's coming from. Bulwark of defense, Armor Master medium, Test of Metal, Vigilant Defender, Shield Ally, and Call to Battle. And then feats for Rem, Power Attack, Weapon Focus Glaive, Cleave, which if you've ever seen Rem fight with a spear or a glaive, you'd understand. Short Haft, which lets him attack adjacent foes instead of just being a reach weapon. And then Shield Specialization, which is where the other piece of the shield bonus comes. So that's Rem's character sheets. As we go forward, they'll get more complicated as we level up. So yeah, and if you have any questions, feel free to just send them to me in a Facebook PM, or you can put them here in the comments, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. So thank you very much for watching video 2. Video 3 should be up later this week, and then we'll keep rolling from there. Thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you in video 3.